Welcome to lecture 13 of ethical issues for modern computer profession. As I pointed out in the last lecture, the term fairness is drawing much attention in AI/ML based decision making. The concept of fairness is not new. Fair distribution of wealth is a well studied topic. Uh, and it has appeared as a tool for social justice in social science. The notion is also common in law. Now, fair distribution of wealth deals with dividing a set of resources among several people who have an entitlement to them, such that each person receives their due share. And fair division has several variants depending on the type of resources to be divided. For example, resources to be divided may be um, a set of indivisible items like ancestral property, or it may be a divisible item like money or a cake. The resources to be divided may be homogeneous in the sense as money, or heterogeneous like immovable property or uh, estate. The resources may be goods which has um, some positive values, or maybe bads like house codes. Uh, and the real life applications of fair division include um, fair item assignment, fair division of land estates, broadcast time, fair code division, fair rent division. And each of these applications are dealing with different types of resources. Like fair item assignment, it's basically dividing a set of indivisible and heterogeneous groups. Similarly, fair division of land estates, ancestral property, broadcast time, it is basically dividing a divisible heterogeneous. Fair code division is devising a divisible heterogeneous bad. Fair rent division is very important and interesting, and it's a bit different from all the other. When it dividing a set of indivisible heterogeneous good and simultaneously a homogeneous divisible bad. It includes both. So this paired division uh, uh, has received significant attention in theoretical computer science nowadays, especially in game theory. If you want to learn more, you can refer in standard literature for game theory, or for an introduction, you can refer this lecture series, which I have. Even this is a lecture series of only 5 lectures. You will get much idea. And if you feel interested, then you can also refer the pointers provided in this. Now, fair cake cutting is a very popular metaphor for basically a division of divisible goods, mostly heterogeneous, like land estates, advertisement space, broadcast time, etc. Actually, it's trivial when uh, the goods is homogeneous, like as a metaphor, cake with no topping. It's a uniform cake. This is very trivial. But for heterogeneous toppings, different preferences of different agents need to be considered while dividing the cake. For example, some people may prefer the chocolate toppings, some prefer the cherries, someone just wants a large piece, uh, as large piece as possible. So, in other words, the paired division for this cake should be subjectively fair. That is each person should receive a piece that he or she believes to be fair, sir. There are a few important criteria for fair division. I mean, depending on the domain um, of application and also the type of uh, resources that to be divided. I'm going to introduce only two of them, which I think will be very useful for our future discussion here. First one is proportionality. It's every agent feels that he or she receives at least one by nth of the resource by his or own subjective valuation. So uh, every agent, if there are n agents, every agent should at least feel that he or she has got at least one by nth share of the total cake based on his or her own valuation. Uh, I mean, this differs from equal distribution as the valuation is subjective. That is, the value of same resources, same portion of the resources maybe differ from, may differ from agent to agent. So same piece of cake, uh, the value may be different to different agents. Next one is envy freeness. It's very important in case of fairness. Every agent should feel that their share is at least as good as the share of any other agent, and thus no agent should uh, feel envy to other. I mean, everyone is happy. Everyone is happy to get his share and is thinking that based on his valuation, no one is getting better than him or her. So this is a very important criteria when we need to divide heterogeneous good. Uh, we need to deal with subjective uh, distribution. So early use of the term fairness in decision making was found in law and policy making. Um, that was mainly used to protect weaker section of the society from getting victims of any discrimination. For example, a United States law used to designate minority groups of people, the minority based on race and gender, as protected group or protected class, to provide special protection against any possible discriminating decision in connection with especially employment. So this protected class and protected group is already um, mentioned and used by US law. Now, fairness through unawareness has emerged as the most naive way to counter discrimination. It prohibits explicit use of certain attributes that directly identify the group or class a person at the receiving end of the decision belongs to. I mean, it prohibits the use of those attributes in the decision making process. In other words, the decision should be made being blind uh, or without any knowledge about these attributes. These attributes such as race, gender, ethnicity, or any other, depending on the context, are termed as protected attributes. Now, you may recall that we were referring these attributes as sensitive personal data while we were discussing ethical issues involving data collection and data aggregation. Uh, However, this approach may not guarantee fairness always. I mean, there are other attributes which may appear having no direct connection with discrimination, and thereby remain unprotected, remain they are not termed as protected, but they may still result in discrimination by indirectly revealing a protected attribute. This type of attributes are usually termed as proxy attributes. For example, address or simply zip code of a person can act as a highly effective proxy for his or her race or ethnicity. Recent research on fairness in connection with automated decision making has found that direct application of these existing techniques to achieve fairness, like fairness through unawareness, or some other existing notions, may not be appropriate. I mean, existing notions of fairness may not also work to appropriately represent the fairness we want to mean in case of automated decision making. Accordingly, recent research on fairness for automated decision making have focused on both uh, formalizing the appropriate notions of fairness and also developing suitable techniques to achieve fairness. Uh, we, but before moving into those topics, in the next lecture, I would like to discuss the relation between accuracy and fairness. And then from the next to next lecture, I will move on discussing the state of the art research that is going on fairness, formalizing the notion of fairness, as well as developing the techniques to mitigate discrimination and achieve fairness. Thank you.